Good morning and afternoon and evening and Satnam to our global community. It's a Venus gate, and we are always happy to utilize these frequency portals to put as much elevation and as much positivity and creative energy into this, this kind of what Tashi calls the Kamari's kiss. This very special day. It happens once a month, and I believe all of these things when Tashi came along and started to explain the Venus gate, I had heard about it before, but I mean, still, there's hardly anything online about it. It's kind of quite a mystical and mysterious cosmological portal. But I believe every time these kind of new understandings come to pass, it's a frequency upgrade. So basically, all of a sudden we understand this a little bit more. We start to, as thought leaders and yogis and culture leaders and frequency leaders, we start to utilize these frequency moments like a Venus gate, where maybe a couple years ago we had never heard of a Venus gate before Tashi came to the Rama community, or you'd never heard of one before before a couple months ago. Those are kind of instances where all of the frequency has gotten to the point in our collective consciousness and in the, not just our community, but the collective, that we can start to utilize these particular frequencies and portals, and that's treasure revealment. Similarly, when they find a planet, like when the scientists, scientist types find a planet, is significant for a certain type of frequency. It's not that the planet wasn't there before and wasn't significant in the astrological and astronomical kind of understanding, but when it's found, is the date of that or the kind of moment of that is a significant moment. So that's kind of the birth chart of our understanding of it. So this is a Venus, the Venus gate is like this, because 20 years ago when I started teaching these new moon and full moon classes, which I've been doing for a long, long time, no one had ever even heard of the moon before. And now it's like you can't talk to somebody without them riddling off their whatever human design. We're getting very specific. So Shivapreet sent me some other thing that I am, which was like about me being like a picky eater, and I was like, that explains it. I'm a something that justifies that. But so, all of these cosmological languages, these are the languages of the age of Aquarius, but if you don't know what your moon sign is, and, something that kind of started to, before the Venus gates came into our awareness, something that started getting into the zeitgeist was around the moon's nodes and the nodes of the moons. Nobody had ever talked about the moon. So nobody knew about the moon, barely. All we knew was that Stanley Kubrick film of landing, the landing on the moon that they made. So that's all we knew about the moon. But if you didn't get that joke, you need to do the intelligence meditation. What are you doing? Thank you. It was called 1964. Anyways, the moon, kind of these lunar days, nobody really knew about except for the yogic scientists, and they've been practicing this. I'm talking about kind of in the Western psyche. And then, so that kind of penetrated into the Western psyche. And then we got into the moon's nodes, and then, the human design. I've been hearing, there was human design readers when I was a child. With all the kind of New Age circus, there was human design readers, and I always thought that the thing would look so cool. But nobody was really talking about it, but now everyone is talking about human design. Why? Well, it takes a certain frequency to reveal some of the understanding. So now it's kind of a common understanding. We posted one thing about human design, everybody just freaked out because it's just a new way for us to be able to, stereotype each other. And it's like, no, I can't talk to manifesting Capricorn, moon, generating distant mountain people. It just doesn't work for me. So it helps us to divide and conquer. But no, these cosmological sciences, they actually are here for us to have another language to understand the mystical nature of our unique soul's journey and how that is in symphony with all that have been and all that will be in this cosmic dance, as it were. So today's the Venus Gate, and I want to focus on as much positivity. I call this the super positivity, which actually creates super logic, because it's very logical to be positive. It's very logical because the vibration brings the same, as it were, like and like. And so it's logical to have some sort of super positivity. Now, I was talking to someone last night. There is a Buddhist concept, no hope, no fear. And the foundation of that, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, no hope, no fear. And the foundation of that is actually when you get into this state where you're not hoping for something to be different, and you're not fearing that it isn't going to be this way forever, and all of those things. Actually, inside of the no hope, no fear is a great amount of very sober optimism. Because then you can actually just enjoy being alive in the moment. And it's very optimistic because life is beautiful when you're relating to the flow of energy that way. So super positivity isn't this kind of love and light, broad stroke, kind of eye roll back in the head, head in the sand kind of thing. That is just a kind of another, we'll call it, cloak of a way that we are blind spotted in our subconscious mind and the way that we relate to our lives and our energy and all that kind of stuff. So that idea of the love and light, new age type of thing, that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about super positivity. I'm just talking about the revelation that happens when you are in your body and in your mind in a way that is sacred in this moment, and it creates just a natural law of, wow, it's amazing to be alive right now. And that is a deeply felt and deeply integral positivity and optimism. And it comes from that no hope, no fear. So for those of you who are feeling a little, kind of, we'll call it, it's the natural state of my Tibetan Mastiff. It's like, why are you looking at me? What do you want from me? I don't want nothing to do with you. And that's, I finally understand the psychology of the Tibetan Mastiff, which is completely different than most dogs. It's like they're not even the same species, which is basically, if you look me in the eye or do the high voice, I am going to assume that you're hiding something. And so then I'm going to growl at you. That's kind of, I like that. There's nothing wrong with that way of living your life. Because, everybody's, anytime somebody does the love and light with me, I always raise an eyebrow, because I feel like that's a indication of who knows what is going on underneath it. So it's a very Tibetan Mastiff way of living your life. But there's nothing wrong with having that kind of sobriety with what's happening, because logic gives you intuition. Logic opens up your intuitive power. Logic opens up your compassion. And I'm not talking about Socratic logic. That's very big right now, this kind of Stoicism movement, and the kind of Socratic thought process. As that guy wrote that New York Times bestselling. And I started looking into it. There's some good stuff in there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm talking about a super logic, which is the kind of divine, ecstatic beingness of whatever's happening right now is incredibly sacred. And I'm going to show up in the most enlivened way I can. And from that, no matter how challenging that moment is, there's something really incredibly juicy and incredibly enlivening about just being alive and being in whatever challenging or incredible or just peaceful or nothing moment that it is, just functionary moment. If you really go there, everything will change in your life. And that's ultimately what all spiritual practice is for. Can I be cleaning up the dog shit and having like an ecstatic experience because I get to do this? Like, that's the extreme, right? Can I be dealing with, whatever, my screaming baby? Can I be doing the dishes? Can I be, ultimately, that's the householder's ecstatic enlightenment. In any moment, can I wake up in the moment and just no matter what's kind of in front of me and what's behind me, feel and experience the moment in the sacredness and the absolute never will happen again before, didn't happen before, won't happen again reality. And when that happens, you have the sacred outlook, which is part of this whole kind of teaching. But so I'd like to put as much kind of super positivity as we can into this portal because people are addicted. I mean, addicted, like heroin. It's that addictive to their fear, their misery, their complaint, to their negativity, and this whole negativity thing. I mean, like, since when? The people who are being negative, it's one thing to be negative about yourself, which is completely destructive, and you're if you can't get it, if you can't do something about it and get it under command, your life is ruined. You ruin your life. That's, that's just the bottom line. You got to be really kind of razor's edge about this. One thought, one negative thought that you compulsively run through your lifetime, it can completely ruin your life. And we have a million examples of it. The thought can iterate into different things, but we have a million examples of one thought can ruin a whole lifetime. Okay, one negative thought. So it's one thing about having negative thoughts with yourself and about yourself but now it's become it's in vogue right now to be, super negative about other people and spend, it's your full-time job basically, policing and being negative and about other people. If you look at the people who are compulsively addicted to this, if you really went and microscopically looked at their personal life, it would be a mess because you cannot have healthy relationships with this kind of addiction. This kind of addiction only gives you, we'll just call it a ramshackle of a personal life because the kind of basis of healthy and good relationship is I'm going to see what's good in you and I'm going to optimize it and I'm going to pray for it and I'm going to continue to relate to that part of you. Everyone is complex. This is the other part of what we're dealing with right now that I want to put a big prayer in, is that because everyone's dumbed down and mind controlled and in their kind of zombie thing, and all of this worked very well, didn't it? All of the kind of social experiment. And so because of that, there's no kind of complexity and sophistication of thought process that we're able to hold and discourse. And so therefore we can't hold the complexity of our own this and that's and all the thoughts of one blink of an eye, 1,000 thoughts and all the complexities of that, nor can we hold it for somebody else. So we have to kind of have this kind of either super positive or super negative. It's like the whole world has borderline personality disorder. And I said to my mom is a wonderful psychotherapist, and I remember at some point she was just like, everybody has a personality disorder. It's like I can't even diagnose anybody anymore because everybody has a personality disorder. But the collective consciousness has a borderline personality disorder. Either you're really, really bad or you're really, really good, and there's just nothing in between and no kind of sophistication. That nobody can have a good relationship that way. Because a healthy, beautiful relationship is whatever this stuff is, we're all neurotic, but I do not have to, nor am going to, enter the neurotic world of you. I already have to deal with my own neurotic world. That's enough. So I'm not going to enter yours, but what I am going to do is I'm going to love you. I'm going to elevate you. I'm going to see the best in you. I'm going to hold you in the highest light. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to wrap my arms around you. I'm going to be compassionate. And somebody was telling me, this therapy modality, this couples therapy modality where you go in, you talk about like the worst, like most demonic sides of each other. And I was like, that will get you nowhere but a divorce. So if you want a divorce, that's actually a really great thing to do. You go in there and because some people have to remind themselves of like what a shithead this person is, and then maybe what a shithead they are, and that will help them get out of an unhealthy relationship. So that's a good, if that's where you're headed, that's actually quite, I'm sure it's quite successful. But in order to have a healthy relationship, the person in front of you is complex, and they have all their childhood wounds, and they've been through all these kinds of things, and they're dealing with, and many people are dealing with so much right now, and they've lost a job, or they've lost a loved one, or they've lost confidence, or, they've had a, long year walking back and forth from the refrigerator. It's been a long fucking year, okay? Like everybody's doing their best, and so what your job is to how can I elevate and really hold this person in their best health, their best vitality, their best creativity, all of these things. But we're not taught this, and then we wonder why we have these kind of crumbling personal lives. I'm telling you, all these people who are on the forefront of basically building their whole kind of rhetoric and their career on attacking others and the negativity. You look in these people's personal lives, and it is you interview 10 of their exes, and I'm telling you, it's a fucking ramshackle because they're addicted compulsively to negative masturbation, basically. Negative porn. Negativity as porn. That's what it is. And so our job as yogis, because we're at the forefront of this new wave of love, the Mayans call it the 9th wave. Our job is when there's a portal open, let's put as much love as we can in there. And as examples, let's take this very simple but profound teaching into our personal relationships. Just do our best. Not everybody, Robert Bly says you have to build 2 rooms for your father. The father that is the failure, and the father that is the hero. And what if everybody was told that about their father and they really understood that? And what if men were told that it's okay? Like there's the place, because what through our religious programming, our cultural programming, our societal programming, what actually is told to men is you're the perfect husband, the perfect dad, and if you're not that guy, then you have to kind of push down the other guy that's not perfect. And so the split is so heavy that we get all the things that happen when you split yourself like that. So we're just elevating each other, and it's a daily momentary, it's a choice, and in your most intimate relationships is the hardest, so that's where you do the work. And that's why we're getting into sex this weekend, because we're just, compulsively weird about this stuff. Because if we can talk and be and do and have sex in both the lower chakras and the higher chakras, you don't want to be negative anymore, because you're having good sex, like real good sex, not like porn good sex. You're having like actual good sex, which means that like you're happy. Okay? I want that for you. And we just, these things are simple. It's not that complex, but we definitely have, people are addicted to negativity and fear, and it's compulsive. It's like a shot in the arm. They are, especially sitting at home, trolling and attacking and all this stuff. It's a shot in the arm. And all this kind of saviorism. It's like, I'm going to save you from possibly ever having a different opinion that I have. I'm going to save you from that. This is ridiculous. But people are addicted to it. It's a compulsion. So we're going to put our positive and super positive frequency into this day. Okay, so that's our prayer. And then all the people in your life, we're just doing that addiction meditation. And I'm telling you, not just doing it for yourself, because the less compulsive you are and the less kind of fragmented you are, the more people around you in your aura, they feel the relaxation of, oh, wait, I can be complex and I can be all these things, and it's okay. And I'm going to be elevated and loved anyways, and not just anyways, but because of that I'm a complex human being that's, all sorts of things and all sorts of things I'm not, and all those things are simultaneous. And then it's just beautiful. And then we start to really move into this wave of higher love consciousness frequency. Okay? That's actually unity consciousness. Not this bullshit politic that people are trying to, in none of the politic that people are talking about unity is there actually unity consciousness frequency in it. So we one step at a time here. We have to do our work as yogis. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Reality Riffing. These are conversations that I think are important with people who are doing great things in the world about subject matters that need to be discussed. If you enjoyed the content, the conversation, please feel free to share with your people, share with your friends and family, rate the podcast below, and also subscribe.